Okay guys, I can't tell you how much I'd rather be in my pool at this very second instead of being in front of this fucking camera. It is triple-digit degree weather outside. I'm dying here. But you know what, I got 3 movies to talk about. It's week 17. Let's do this. Okay, so the first film is the infamous Street Fighter, The Legend of Chun-Li. The reason why it's infamous is because critics and fans think that it's a complete piece of shit. Now fans mostly because it does completely give the middle finger to the source material. Even though the producers like to differ, I saw the special features, they really thought they were making a good movie here. One of the features on the Blu-ray made me crack up because they actually showed comparisons, side-by-side comparisons of the video game characters and the movie characters. It's like comparing apples to oranges, shit to snow cones. It's like, what the fuck are you thinking? But that was funny. Anyway, let's get to the movie. In all honesty, forget about the game. Is this movie any good? No. Hell no. Not at all. From beginning to end, it is complete rubbish. It is shit on a stick left on the sidewalk for little kids to step in. What exactly were they thinking here? They wanted to make it more realistic, right? Well, that's a fail. The story is... Yeah, I'm not even gonna begin to describe the plot. Fuck the plot. This movie is so awful that it's laughably bad. You see, in 1994, there was a Street Fighter movie. We all know this, with Jean-Claude Van Damme and Raul Julia. And that movie was completely stupid. Bad on so many levels, but yet somehow entertaining. This movie is not entertaining. It is so bland and boring. The story is not complicated, but it's so dull that my interest in it just completely gets thrown out the window. Real quick, let me talk about the actors and the characters. You got Kristen Kirk from Smallville. Nothing against her. She's a cutie. I never watched Smallville, so I can't really, say if she's a good actress or not. But to cast her as one of the most famous and most badass female Asian characters in video game history? No. No, even though Kirk is part Chinese, she doesn't look it. No offense to her, but she's too scrawny. There's no muscle to her, and you know what, her fighting in this movie is not very impressive either, because she pretty much gets thrown like a ragdoll throughout, and manages to get a couple of kicks and punches here and there. But whatever, then you got Neil McDonough. And this guy is not known for being a lead actor. In fact, he's always a supporting character. What made the producers cast him as M. Bison? I have no idea. And I understand they didn't want to put the character in a bright red, uniform outfit and all, but this guy looks nothing like a villain or an M. Bison or anything. If anything, he looks like M. Bison's lawyer. Michael Clark Duncan, who probably makes the most sense for what character he was casted for. Balrog. I mean, the guy's a big guy, he's a former boxer. In this movie, he's Bison's henchman. And that's it. So there's not much for Michael Clark Duncan to do but to look strong and throw a few punches and shoot a rocket launcher for some reason. Moon Bloodgood, she plays some sort of agent. I'm not even sure what character she plays from the game, but she's a hottie. Every outfit that she wears has a clumsy neckline, and she's constantly leaning over, showing her cleavage, and asking people questions. Hey, I'm not complaining, I'm just making that observation. Robin Shou is also in this movie. He plays Gen, or is it Jen? I'm pretty sure it's Gen. He trains Chun-Li. He's not really there to do much but to spread a bunch of philosophy and whatever. I just find it interesting that Robin Shou has been in the Mortal Kombat films, Street Fighter film, and even made a cameo in DOA. That guy should have fired his agent a long time ago. Oh yeah, Taboo from the Black Eyed Peas. They casted him as Vega. Vega was a fighter from Spain. He was like the most handsome character. He was a pretty boy. He was concerned about his face. Now we move on to the worst actor in this movie, Chris Klein as Nash. It's like he went above and beyond to be the worst actor he could possibly be for this piece of shit. He's like constantly trying to be cool and suave. Every time he says something, he even kind of sways his head like he's cool and shit. Every line he says makes me want to roll my eyes and shake my head. The guy can't even get out of a car convincingly. My favorite scene though is when he's telling Moon Bloodgood, oh, by the way, he's an Interpol agent and he's working with Moon Bloodgood's character. He's talking to her about how he just can't catch M. Bison. Like, he's chased him from continent to continent all over the world and he never comes close to catching him. Why? Because he slips through the range rocks. That's the fucking dumbest line I've ever heard. If for nothing else, this movie makes me laugh. People for years have been ripping on Chris Klein's performance in this movie. But yeah, he fucking deserves it. I could talk about his performance for days, but I gotta move on. Now, I could be here all day and talking about how bad this movie is and why, but the main thing is the fact that, yeah, it has a very dull pace. The action sequences are very weak. The fight sequences are weak. Well, here's the thing. It's like they shot 10 different angles for each punch and kick. This is not a kick. This is a punch as well. And the editor couldn't figure out which angle to use, so he figured he'd snip every shot and throw it in there. And there's a lot of wire work in there, and it looks ridiculous. But you know what? It's not surprising because the director of this movie also did Romeo Must Die and Exit Wounds. Those films also have... The guy has a thing for wires. The worst thing about this movie is that there is no sense of wonderment. There's no sense of fun in this movie. Gen is able to teach Chun-Li how to shoot a fireball, and the character isn't even amazed by it. There's no fun to this movie. There's no... Well, if there's any sort of humor, I didn't catch it. I was just laughing at things that I wasn't meant to laugh at. Mostly Chris Klein. He's that fucking guy. Slips through the raindrops. So let me get done with this piece of shit. It's a 1.5 out of 5. It's terrible. And I can't believe that I can't believe I've seen it twice in my life. So the next movie I want to talk about, actually I don't want to talk about it, but I have to. It's called The King of Fighters. Here's another movie based off a fighting game, which I've never played, I've never even heard of, to be honest. I don't know what to say with this one. It's one of those movies that was under the radar, underground. It came out in some countries here and there. I feel bad for those countries. I think it even got a limited release here in the States. Like, very limited. Look, here's the thing. If you've never heard of this movie, bless you. Don't look it up. Don't. This movie is awful on every level. It's so boring. I gotta be careful, it's too hot to get fired up, but this movie is garbage. Here's part of the story, okay? There's a fighting tournament. Ugh, I'm telling you, the heat is getting to my head. It takes place in a different dimension. The contestants are transported to this dimension through a Bluetooth device. That is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard. There's also some shit about relics and a sword, and I don't give a fuck. I found it very hard to focus on this movie. Matter of fact, I'm gonna be honest, it put me to sleep a couple of times. It's that boring. The fight sequences have no excitement to them. They are so bland. It's like nobody had any ambition for this movie. I'm not gonna stay on this movie. Awful, boring, bad special effects. It's a 1 out of 5. Moving on. Last film I want to talk about is Tekken. Yes, that's right, they made a movie out of Tekken. It was released overseas, and then when it came to the States, it went straight to DVD. Now here's the one thing I found interesting. When I saw the movie, I noticed how incredibly brutal and violent it was. The movie even has sex in it. The Tekken games, which I'm sort of a fan with, I never really had a deep connection with them. I thought they're fun, and I do play them. I don't really know too much about the characters, but those games are T for teen. I don't think there's a single one that's rated M. So I do find it kind of cool that with most games, that are turned into movies, they're usually watered down. Like, it doesn't emulate the game like Max Payne or whatever else. I don't want to think too much. They usually go for PG-13s, whatever. This is the one movie that could have been PG-13, but they went all with it. They went the mature route. This movie is just, it's pretty crappy. A lot of people hate this movie. It's understandable, but to be honest, I kind of like it. The premise of the film is kind of cool. The fact that the world is no longer ruled by nations. It's ruled by corporations. Not exactly an original concept. I'm pretty sure it's been done before. But it's a cool concept nonetheless. Unfortunately, it really just doesn't mean anything after a while because the fights take center stage. And really, that's the only reason to watch this movie, is the fights. I think the fights are actually kind of good. Yeah, the camera's a bit shaky at times, but you can tell what's going on. And they're very brutal, they're very violent. I like that. Acting is definitely not this film's strong point. The acting is very weak. Average at best. Especially the guy that plays Jen, the main character. He is terrible. Storytelling, characters, it's terrible, but I like the fight sequences and the fact that this movie is somehow entertaining. So I'm just gonna go ahead and rate this sucker 2.5 out of 5. Definitely not a good movie. Definitely not something that, you know, can be cherished or anything like that. Okay, I'm telling you, the heat is really getting to me. So anyway, I really wish I could have made this into a better video. Could have been more in-depth, but I really cannot think right now. I am fucking dying in my room. Next week's movie is Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time. Yay! And until then, please like, share, comment. Go jump in the pool. That's what you, fuck this video. Turn it off and go jump in the pool. Slips through the raindrops. What a dumbass. What?